About you, but I think we're all nosy, aren't we? Well, we are, aren't we? Let's be honest. I don't know if you're like me, but I love to have a good nosy round somewhere. And I'm always fascinated by the things that you see. And I've said to you before, particularly old hotels, and you go through the doors and you imagine all of those people that have gone through before you, and they thought they were it, weren't they? Right in the moment, the sort of thing where you look and think, wow, incredible to think that you're just passing through, as it were. And it's a bit like venues, isn't it? You look at really sort of famous venues around the world, whether it's something like the Sydney Opera House or, of course, something like Carnegie Hall in New York, and you think, what a place, Been on there, by the way. Yes, I've sung on there. I'll leave that there. And this particular venue, the world famous London Palladium, also appeared there. Yes, and it's one of those cavernous places, 2,000 plus seats. But it's the sort of theatre that if you are in the world of show business, you want to appear. There are many, I know, around the world, and everybody sort of thinks this is the place, this is where I want to pop up on. And as I say, I was lucky enough to kind of achieve that dream relatively early. But what always fascinated me about the London Palladium was the mechanics, They put on such spectacular shows, pantomimes, musicals. There was a revolving stage, which now no longer exists because they took the parts away. I'm sure they could put it back, but it was famous at the end of Sunday night at the London Palladium, where all the big stars climbed on, and then you wandered round and it circled round. Apparently, Mario Lanza didn't want to do it, but if he wanted to get paid, he got on it. And to make sure he got on it, they got two Tiller girls to take him back to make sure he stood on it. You see how show business works. You want your money, you do the job. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the other day I was back filming at the Palladium with a good chum of mine, of course, Engelbert Humperdinck, and I spotted this, which I'd forgotten about, and I wanted to share with you. It's in the foyer, just as you're coming out the main door. And it's fascinating to think, because it's been there for many years. It was the original Moss Empire safe. Now, Moss Empires were a major theatrical company that literally controlled so many theatres up and down the land here in the United Kingdom, and of course in Ireland too. And what was wonderful about them was they were sort of like the big MGM of theatres for Britain, as it were. Moss Empires were a company that literally controlled so many theatres up and down the United Kingdom, everywhere from the world famous London Palladium through to the Bristol Hippodrome, the talk of the town. They were the big thing. And there was a powerful woman there called Cissy Williams, who I've been told about on numerous occasions. Talk about women ruling the roost, this woman did. And what was good about this particular story is she was the one that basically, if she liked your act, you could get on. Mike Winters told me that basically she wasn't keen on their comedy patter, but she liked their suits and their polished shoes. So she felt with a bit of development, things could go in their favour. That's how show business works again. But back to this. This, as I say, is the world famous Moss Empire safe just in the foyer. And according to folklore and the former manager, I was lucky enough to meet John Avery, who was wonderful, let me tell you, simply because he was the manager during the sort of halcyon days of all of those wonderful royal variety performances. And he escorted the likes of Princess Margaret, Princess Diana, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen, and the stories that he was able to share one wonderful afternoon when we did an audience with for a staff member there was just magnificent. A lovely, lovely man. And for many people who remember him, don't forget him. He did a lot to make the Palladium special. But this particular safe was where all the big money that had to be collected every single night and morning was deposited. Now, why was it be by the front door? Well, according to this story, it's because, of course, the people would come in, very quickly empty it and move out. And I was thinking to myself, can you imagine that being like that today? The safety around that would have been incredible, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that being like that today? And the safety around that would have been incredible. It still remains, and I've been told that there's nothing in the safe now, apart from hot air. Some people might say ideal for me, but the bottom line is it's just great to look at these things. And as I say, as I wander around this wonderful capital city and I see things, I genuinely think, well, the chum's like that, would you be interested in it? So as ever, if you can, do like and share, because it's wonderful to learn, find out, and more importantly, celebrate the wonderful history of all of those things that have gone beyond. Thank you as ever for taking the time out to join me today. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.